Hi, I want to talk about Masters of the Universe. Let's say straight off that I have a massive soft spot for this property. My name is Hemanth, and not everyone gets that straight away. When I introduce myself, I often need to clarify by saying my name is He-Man with a TH. A look of understanding usually follows, and that is thanks to the television series He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, which first aired in 1983. You may think I'm a spring chicken, but I'm in fact a 1980s child. I watched the cartoon as a kid and had many of the toys. Here is He-Man and Battle Cat. They're over 40 years old. I have other toys from the show, but they're boxed up, waiting for the day where I can display them in all their glory. From this new film, I had a warm glow because my childhood toys were portrayed on the big screen. Skeletor, Man-at-Arms, Roboto, Beastman, Cyclops. I even have Fisto. The film makes a big joke of the name Fisto. As you can imagine, Masters of the Universe, the film, plays it the only way it could, really, leaning into the hilarious ridiculousness of the characters. As an action comedy, it is very funny, charming, and energetic. There is a Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor vibe to it. Though Masters of the Universe is not in the same league as the Barbie movie, but it is better than most of the Transformers franchise and all of the G.I. Joes. Here goes giving you a flavour of the plot of Masters of the Universe. Okay, so there's a world, right? It's called Eternia. And in that world, there's of Eternia, there's a powerful sword imbued with magic, which is wielded by that realm's champion to defend the land. A villain called Skeletor wants this ultimate force for himself, because interestingly, he says he's afraid that any power he has can be taken away. Beyond that mission, there is no humanity to him. Skeletor and his minions lay waste to those trying to stop him stealing the Sword of Power. The guardian of the weapon is called the Sorceress, and she manages to send the sword and a young prince called Adam out of harm's way to Earth. There he grows up to work in human resources while trying to track down the Sword of Power on our planet. You see, it's also a bridge, like Thor's Bifrost, that can bring him back to Eternia and fulfill his destiny as that planet's protector. He spends a lot of time with weird and wonderful characters. The focus of the film is Prince Adam, who's played with an endearing lack of confidence, tied to empathy, and a strong moral compass. Of course, the lore and plot sound convoluted, but if you can sit through Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, you'll have no trouble with this. I do not envy any filmmaker trying to adapt He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. The project made me think of Michael Mann trying to adapt TV show Miami Vice for the big screen. It's not easy to wrap nostalgia in a modern sensibility while not alienating newbies. This version of He-Man is better than I hoped, especially considering how disappointing the 1987 live-action movie was. By the way, there's a joyous cameo from Dolph Lundgren. In terms of the look of Masters of the Universe, there are top-notch makeup and CGI character effects. Beastman in particular impresses. However, the backgrounds don't look great. The film needed to have Avatar levels of immersiveness. Masters of the Universe wisely plays proceedings for laughs while not insulting the audience. It helps having comedy thesps like Alison Brie and Kristen Wiig. Idris Elba also delivers the goods, playing against type. There's so many comedy touches, from Prince Adam's flatmate blubbing while watching The Notebook to the use of the Four Non-Blondes song What's Up during an action sequence. Plus, the continual quizzical expressions from characters as they react to other characters' words and behaviour. There's also plenty of innuendo for those that enjoy that style of humour. However, Masters of the Universe for me pushes the 12A rating here in the UK in terms of the violence. Actors and stunt people stabbing each other in movies like the John Wicks is one thing, but in a family movie does not sit right. The fight choreography needed to be rethought, not just in terms of the appropriateness, but also in terms of inventiveness. So many blockbusters lack imagination and originality when it comes to combat scenes. Like the Iron Man movies, where Tony Stark rarely is in the suit at full power, Master of the Universe keeps Adam away from the Sword of Power and the He-Man persona, perhaps because otherwise there are no real adversaries the creatives can come up with. After the climax, there are multiple end scenes, which I do not want to spoil, catering to fans of the 1980s TV show. I really enjoyed them. All I'll say is relish the laughter and a shoehorned moral. Plus, there's an important setup for a sequel. Think Ant-Man and the Wasp. There is a knowingness to Masters of the Universe. It made me compare a little to Galaxy Quest, starring Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver and Alan Rickman. If you want to delve further into the ideas, tone or themes of Masters of the Universe, I have some movie recommendations for you. Firstly, One Piece. The live action show is wonderful. Full of imagination and camaraderie. The hair and makeup and sets are fantastic. Conan the Barbarian, the Arnold Schwarzenegger version, is one of my favourite fantasy films. If only director John Milius had made more. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. A fab action adventure from 3 years ago. Really underrated. It's a shame that it underperformed at the box office. I would have loved more installments. Land of the Lost. Another underrated flop I have a soft spot for. A blockbuster sci-fi adventure starring Will Ferrell and Danny McBride. I hope you enjoyed Masters of the Universe and my recommendations. If you enjoyed my review, feel free to subscribe to my channel and like this video.